If you could choose one memory to pass on to future generations, what would the memory be?
A gente se divertia mesmo na escola, sabe? Barra Charles Batalha de
Eu lembro ficou muito forte durante essas viagens, né?
Once Upon Us is a composite art project in collaboration with Queen Mary University and London Festival of Architecture. The overall project is inspired by epigenetics research. We used to know that genes come in a predetermined package that we cannot change. But with the epigenetics research, we started to look into the mechanisms that activate or deactivate genes. But the most interesting part to us is actually we can change this mechanism as we go through life. So it's about playing with the idea that we can choose who we are down to the core of our DNA, and we can choose what we pass on to the next generations. Once Upon Us is composed of 3 chapters. This is the first chapter. It's an immersive and sensory installation. We wanted to create a space we could make people reflect upon the relationship we have with our past, with our present, but also our future. We were inviting people to step into this installation, which is almost like a cube within a cube within a cube. And as people move through the different layers of the space, they come close to the heart of the installation, which is a metallic cube vibrating the memories of people. By listening to what our people decided to pass on to future generations, they can maybe think about the effect, the memories that have been passed on to them. And also they can choose what they want to live on. They can think about what kind of future they want to create and reflect how we are made up of different layers and how we relate to these layers.
Koromból, és igazából ami mindig kedvesen emlegetek, az a hajdúszobosztói nyaralunk, ami igazából nem ki, és mindig májustól szeptemberig leköltöznek oda, mert ez egy kis.
Recuerdo cuando me iba de vacaciones con mi familia, antes de que muriese mi padre. Íbamos a Salou.
Uma lembrança bem forte que eu tenho de quando eu ia passar o Ano Novo, a semana do Ano Novo, com a família do meu pai, na casa da praia que a gente tem. Todo dia de manhãzinha acordava.
Olen eläkkeellä oleva Suomen kansalainen ja olen työskennellyt.
The second chapter of this project was an interdisciplinary conversation we had here at the Queen Mary University, in which we invited audience and experts from different fields to interact and discuss new and ancient theories on the theme of ancestral memory. We had experts from the epigenetic science field, from psychology, from the history of emotion department of the Queen Mary University to discuss about memory spaces.
Epigenetic marks are largely wiped from one generation to the next. What's passed on is largely unchanged, but there are some changes and mutations. It's the DNA sequence that's passed on. But over the last 100 years, there were several examples that seem to challenge this notion that our phenotype, the way we look, the way we behave, can be explained just by our DNA sequence.
When your grandmother was pregnant 5 months, she already had precursors of those cells 2 generations ahead. So you were, and all your cells, if you're a woman, were programmed in your grandmother's pregnancy.
This idea whether memory or emotional memory itself can be almost described as something physical, and that it remains, or the remnants of it get lodged in a place or space.
We carry that seed memory inherited with us all the lifetimes we have been through.
The third chapter of Once Upon Us is dedicated to the scientists. We asked to take part in the participatory installation, building all together collective sculpture with their decision-making, with their personal choices.
We invited them into our world and see how their research is inspiring our artistic practice. And we invited them to play with very simple shape and to see how what we decide as individuals or as a collective group can influence the environment and the relationship we have with others and with our own selves.
I'm bringing my work on tasks and this idea of theatre and dance as a social experience. And I think it's quite interesting for me to challenge my own practice, and I think it's quite interesting for Francesca to find a different language. Her work with Immuto is done to researching spaces and spatial interaction between the audience and the artwork. And my work has to do with space, and especially with task-based work.